Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, back to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review 303. I am the moderator, Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of the NoDQ Review. TJS just bopped in. Whoa, you all right there, TJS? That's a Strowman look. Didn't he shave his head? I know he regrew his hair, but
oh yeah,
TJS is here. Jeff Meacham is here. The reliable one, Walter Cruz and Aaron Rift. What's up, everyone? Hey, just so everybody knows, the topics tonight, we will be talking about Miro Rusev if he's heading back to WWE. We will also be talking about that segment that Roman and Cody had in the football stadium in Atlanta, the Georgia Tech team. And then we're also going to talk about, because, Tony Khan is gloating that he's got the greatest roster ever assembled in the history of professional wrestling. And our main event tonight, we will give our thoughts on what we think are most favorite rosters. Was it an era of WCW? Was it an era of WWE, WWF, TNA? Who knows? But we're all going to give our opinion later. What's going on, everybody? Jeff Meacham, I'll start with you.
Everything's going totally good, Virtue. It's a Sunday night. We're heading into Halloween season, and wrestling's fun to watch. So can't have too much complaints. Got my kids squared away on the school front, so life is good, brother. Good to be here.
All right, well, stay tuned. You know how this works.
Oh, yes.
And we'll be back to you shortly. Walter, the reliable one, what's going on?
I'm doing well. The fall officially started with just my wife's favorite season, and then when she's in a good mood, everything runs smooth, so I'm about to do a hell of a lot better. So, yeah, let's get into the topics we got.
Hey, and Walter, just remember, start thinking about what you think the best roster in the history of wrestling ever was. Remember, in 2002, all in 1 year, and I know they weren't all like superstars right away, but Batista, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and John Cena all came out of Ohio Valley Wrestling. But yet Tony Khan said the current AEW is the greatest of all time. What's going on, TJS?
Yeah, it's the first day of autumn, but it's still very hot here in Arkansas. So, like you guys said, wrestling it's going all right. I'm enjoying it. Look forward to talking about it with my fellow cue ball, Aaron.
Look, I'm trying. Like, I can't lose it. I'm trying.
Virtue, your hair.
It's getting a little thinner, but it's still there.
Yeah, I'm like 20 years younger than you, and my hairline's like 20 times worse. It's crazy. I've always been jealous of your hairline.
I mean, it does get crazy when I grow it out, but I'm getting old. I like the buzz cut. All right, well, TGS, stay tuned. We'll be back to you. For a minute there, I thought I was going to have to dog you the first minute of this episode because you weren't on. You said you were going to be on, but then we did the little intro. It came back. I could see everybody's screen, and here
it's crazy.
You are. So be right back to you shortly. Aaron, what's going on?
Just looking forward to the Halloween season. It is the first day of fall. It's the only time in the year where I can go swimming in the afternoon and then go to a Halloween haunted house in the nighttime. Loving it. My favorite time of the year. We got WWE Bad Blood coming up. We have AEW Wrestle Dream. Tony Khan making some interesting claims, giving us some fun topics for tonight. I'm looking forward to it. TJS, welcome to the Bald Club. It's an honor to have you with us. Maybe you're going to pull a Walter White on us and start Breaking Bad.
You never
see
know.
What happens. You never know.
The economy's crazy right now, Aaron.
Yep. Sometimes you got to do what a man's got to do. But anyways, Virtue, I'm ready. Let's get this ball rolling.
So if Tony Khan says he has the best roster in wrestling, it's excluding Miro. He had Miro, didn't really do anything with him. Obviously, Rusev in WWE was with Lana. So we're going to talk about that. Can he go back or will he go back to WWE? Now, if we go back to his initial run there in WWE, John Cena kind of derailed him twice, if you actually look back on it. But he, at one point, Aiden English was his little guy that came out with him. They were pretty over with the Rusev Day stuff. And I think some people thought that, he, two titles, that he was going to win one of them and be in the main event and have a little run It never happened. I actually called it for whatever reason. Not that I was dogging him, but Vince McMahon was there. And Rusev seemed like he had everything you think Vince McMahon would have loved for, a heel guy and initially. So let's talk about that. Will Miro, end up back in WWE? I know since that hot run he had as Rusev Day, it's kind of just been stagnant mid-carder. Who cares about Miro or Rusev? But sometimes you go away, you come back, and you can at least have like an upper mid-card run. I mean, we've seen it with several people, and why not? Why not have Triple H bring in another guy, push him, again, not maybe for like a challenger for Braun Breaker, that type of thing for the younger guys. Just to say, hey, Tony, thanks for something you couldn't utilize. Now I have this guy. Cody's a main eventer. Punk's having great feud with McIntyre. We're going to turn Rusev back into a somewhat decent TV filler for us. TJS, I'm going to start with you. What do you think here? Damaged or salvageable? And would he even go back? Would they take him back? What do you think?
100%, I think they would take him back. Now, whether he's damaged or not, I think that's debatable because it got pretty rough towards the end of his WWE run. When he was feuding with Bobby Lashley, that wasn't good. I try to remember the good times when Rusev Day was on fire, and everyone was buying the Happy Rusev Day shirts. They printed Rusev Day calendars and sold those, and that was like printing money. You might as well have just printed money. I bought one.
TJS, this is the thing. You go back to Zack Ryder with it. That wasn't an intended push by Vince McMahon, and when you get yourself over and the company wasn't pushing you to get over, what happens?
Yep.
We saw exactly what happens. Now he's gone. Vince, that mentality's gone. Yeah, Bruce Pritchard might still be there. I don't think Triple H does that, though.
Yeah, I'm hoping not. But, yeah, I think Rusev definitely should go back to WWE. They dropped the ball so hard on his AEW run. Aaron, I know you weren't a fan of that gamer gimmick that he had when he first came in. It was just never good, and I can't say that I blame him for requesting his release. If he doesn't end up back in WWE, I could see him in TNA for sure. He's got TNA World Champ written all over him. But
there you go.
Yeah.
Another one, Tony Khan couldn't figure out what to do with. And again, maybe all these times Rusev never got broke the glass ceiling. Maybe there's reasons for that. Like, who knows? Walter, what do you think here?
He definitely can go back to WWE and he can go on the main roster. Just that, him and Gunther, you could take my money for that. Those two going at it for the world title, that'll be a banger. Yeah, him he had that group, so he can fight Sheamus again, because they got history behind that group. So yeah, or like TJS just said, he can sign with TNA and ex facto still work with WWE. He can work through NXT. They got that portal. So maybe he can go to TNA and since he's been underexposed, now overexposed yourself and end up doing like a Joe Henry, end up on both shows. So he could do a lot, but I guess Tony was done with his shiny new toy pretty quick because Miro never really had that great of a run. I don't know how you don't do something with people that look like Miro and Warlow, and you had all these
because they're bigger guys and a little bit harder of a style in the ring, and not the flopping wrestler Dave Meltzer crap. And that we see the pattern. It's there now. We know exactly what the bias is. And Miro did not fit that bill.
Yeah, he went to AEW, got the Vince McMahon stink off him. Now he's got to go back to WWE, get the Tony Khan stink off of him, and get Triple H behind him. Like, that's what he's going to have to do. But it can work. Yeah, I mean, look what Bobby Lashley did on his second run when he came back. Bobby Lashley was a little bit older, and he became WWE.
I think that WWE crowd is smart enough to where if he kind of popped in and they kind of, not like a CM Punk returning, but you saw him and all of a sudden the Rusev Day, they would just pick up where they left off from that and forget all that crap in between. And I think you could get a good gear run out of him. Again, it's like an upper mid-carder, a Gunther filler, or something like that at this stage of the game. And I don't know. Why not?
And not only that, with TNA's relationship with WWE, you can reunite Rusev Day. You can use that announcer and bring him to WWE. They work together, and then boom, do that reunion on WWE TV, and now market it with Triple H and everything. That's going to be crazy, a crazy reunion. And the marketing machine that WWE has. We were talking about this last night. AEW marketing is non-existent. They got all these masked wrestlers, never sell masks online. They don't know how to market. So now get Rusev behind the right marketing, and you can blow him right back up.
Yep. Hey, and is Aiden English still out there available for a payday or two? Bring him back there with him. Jeff, what do you think here?
Yeah, he's
doing color commentary on TNA, so that's why put Miro in TNA. Have Rusev be like a mystery challenger on NXT for either Obafemi or for Ethan Page, and just have Matt walk out there and go. And people know exactly what's going to happen when he walks out there because he's not at the TNA desk. So that's what I would do. I think Rusev coming back would work. My only issue is he's always had that mouthpiece, whether it was Aiden English introducing him or Lana CJ speaking for him. And neither one of those are available, at least not full time, unless he's in TNA. Then Matt, Aiden, whatever, can pull double duty, like was mentioned in the chat room. I don't know how the Rusev character, the Miro character, whatever, will come off long term, because he does do great like backstage, like packaged promos, but out in the ring doing a live promo, it doesn't always come off well. So I don't think it'll be fully effective. I'm intrigued by him coming back. I just don't know how much work they'll want to put back into him, how much they'll be willing to put back into him. I see potential in him, but it all comes down to Triple H to seeing that potential of him coming back.
Yeah, I'd get a kick out of it because
I would,
because there's the Cody, Punk, Jade Cargill to a point, like, you know what I mean? That pattern of the Misfit toys have come back home, and
yep.
And next thing you know, they're at least an attraction on the show. Aaron,
wouldn't it be something
yes,
if one of the entire brands was just made up of AEW people? Wouldn't that just be the funniest friggin' thing ever? Oh my god,
it's so funny. Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say it's funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, it's so funny that Jade Cargill basically said, "Shut up about AEW. Stop asking me about it. I don't care." I just thought that was funny. Sorry.
Yep, well, they're in the big leagues now. But hey, it's not the best roster of all time, so we'll talk about that later.
No.
I mean, Miro would be leaving the best roster, going to WWE, whatever. Aaron, what do you think?
Maybe Rusev can come back and have a best of 7 series with Bronson Reed, just like Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. But
stop! Oh God! Oh.
I could see value in him coming back to WWE, but I think it does depend on where he can be slotted in. WWE has a very crowded roster as it is. Rusev is a veteran. He's 38 years old. I think he does have some more mileage in him. Keep in mind, Bobby Lashley was in his mid-40s when he won the WWE title. Rusev could come back and have a career renaissance and be booked as a monster again. I certainly think it's a possibility, but I actually like the idea of him going to TNA first. He could be one of the biggest fishes in the pond in TNA. He could be the guy in TNA, build himself up, see how he does. TNA's on a little bit of a roll right now. They're picking up momentum. Maybe Rusev as Miro can build up a winning streak, win the world title, and then WWE can bring him back, and when there's a good opportunity, when they can slot him in there, put him back in the mix, and he can get a big push. I would not rule it out, and I do think he will be back in WWE. It's just a matter of time. I don't know if it's going to be the immediate future. Of course, there's been no word if he's actually been granted a release.
Right.
He reportedly asked for his release, but will Tony Khan actually grant it? That remains to be seen. I think if Rusev has to sit out his contract, it's like spring of 2026. So he'll possibly be in AEW on the sidelines, or maybe they'll bring him back and have him put over people. Who knows? Although apparently there's claims that he doesn't want to put people over, and that's led to some of the issues in AEW. Who knows if that's the case, but he is one guy that unfortunately has been the victim of start and stop pushes that hurt his momentum. I really feel like his peak was WrestleMania 31 with the Tank entrance, and he's kind of been downhill since. And Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat, says, Rusev was done in WWE when Lashley kissed his wife.
Yep.
A lot of people think that was really the end of Rusev in WWE. There was no recovery for that character after that. I think we can all pretty much agree on that, right?
Yeah. Anything that, because you remember, I think it was the summer of 2015 after he lost to Cena that the whole thing with him and Lana and Ziggler and Summer Rae was going into that SummerSlam, right? 2015 was definitely, he had one amazing calendar year on the main roster, and then John beat him at WrestleMania when you're up there in Santa Clara, and he was as big as Rusev Day was. It was not coming out on a friggin' tank at WrestleMania level. So, and Aaron, you mentioned going to TNA. TNA is on such a roll that you're even considering going to Bound for Glory. So why not have Rusev be in TNA?
Yeah, and like you guys mentioned, the former Aiden English is there. He could do a little introduction. It's Miro Day or something like that, and it'd be fun.
Real. He can be just doing his job, and if Miro's a mystery guy for somebody, like they can wait for the introduction from oh god, who's doing their damn intros now? Jay Chung, and she'll go to speak, and he'll go and just stand up and be like, "Oh shit, it's the thing! You're doing the thing!" That'd be a great pop for the TNA crowd.
Absolutely. Perfect idea right there. I say go to TNA first and see where things go from there. Psycho Jet Black, shout out to Psycho Jet Black, who sent in a $2 super chat, says Rusev needs to have epic meat matches in WWE. Well, you got Bronson Reed, you got Gunther, you got Braun Strowman. There's quite a few people. Braun Breaker. There's a lot of opportunities for Rusev and WWE to have those types of matches. And then Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. TJS, which wrestlers should shave their heads?
I think The Undertaker needs to just cut it off, man, because he's losing that battle. Like, it's crazy. And that's why I cut mine off, because I can't do it. John Cena also, shave it off. It looks terrible. But he's John Cena. What am I saying?
Hair plugged over baldness. God.
Yeah.
Just cover the patch. My goodness.
Yeah. John Cena has to beat the women off with a stick. It doesn't matter if he's bald or not.
Right. John Cena can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. It's 2024. I wouldn't use that expression right now.
Angle went bald.
Matt Cardona should shave his head.
Angle went bald.
Yeah.
Rock went bald. And now that's you can't think of them with hair anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, I've never seen a person go bald and then think, well, they look better with hair. Like, ever.
No. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we're caught up, Virtue.
All right, next topic. What did everybody think of the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes segment at the Georgia Tech football stadium, hyping up them teaming up to go against the Bloodline for Bad Blood in Atlanta in a couple of weeks? Very, when you can produce something like this and get the best take, like cinema, like TV. We know Roman obviously worked on a movie. He's supposed to be on some movie that drops on Amazon. He's in it with Keanu Reeves. We still have to see his acting chops, but I mean, seems like he's holding his own here. And even Cody, when you can produce guys like that, it always comes across really well done. I love the motorcade that Roman came in, still pushing him as a big deal. Cody sending a little, we talked about this last week, the little jabs. Like, Cody's like, was it necessary to come in 7 cars? So what does everybody think about this? This is what I want to see to hype up main events. This was epic, was gold. I probably would put it over if it was Drew McIntyre and CM Punk in another forum, but something similarly done. It's not just because it's Roman Reigns. Walter, I'll start with you on this one.
I said this last night. Whoever produced that deserves an Emmy. That was like the way they produced that was awesome, and the little combos and everything in the windows of everything about Georgia, and then like the perfect ending, like the way Roman said, "You're in my way," and then when he moved, he said, "You're in my way in life." Like that was just like the perfect little jab at Cody. I liked everything. I know Aaron said it when he did his review Monday. It was a little over the top. I do understand where he's coming from, but to me, it was perfect. Like it's something different. It's unusual. It's something as opposed to the normal packages before a match and before that. Because when they go at it again, you know that's going to be part of the promo package, and that's totally different than any other normal promo package. So I think it's going to be the whole thing was just awesome, well done. So somebody needs to get an Emmy. WWE's been on fire with their production and everything they're doing, and AEW needs to take a little note.
Hey, it's a way to make Cody interesting. Because, like, you know what I mean? Get him out of the wrestling arena.
Yeah.
Jeff. All right, Jeff, what's your thoughts?
I absolutely loved it. I made it a point to make sure we were back from dropping Dylan off so we could get in front of the TV for SmackDown because I knew they were going to have that close to the opening of the show. And I thought it was very well done, very well produced. I liked every bit of it. I loved that I knew the geography of it because, like I said, they were at Georgia Tech and Cody was talking about, Techwood Studios and Center Stage and the Omni all being there. It's like I was there when I took Dylan to the Six Flags. I forget what the actual name of the park is, but the Six Flags in Georgia. Someone wants to look up the name of it. That's great. Go for it. But I get to see all those spots, and Georgia Tech is literally right there. So it was a cool little like personal memory for me to have all that reference. And yeah, if you're a fan of WCW, if you're a fan of Dusty or the Rhodes family, then yeah, big segment there. I love that. I feel like we're going to get Cody Roman 3. I actually brought up your discussion about the Rock Roman storyline needing the championship last night on our show, Virtue. We were talking about that, and I said, and it was presented that they could push that match to like WrestleMania 42 and Cody Roman 3 should be next year. It's like, no, they got to do the Rock Roman thing like now because they've been dangling that little nub of a carrot in front of us for 3 years. We need to have that paid off. But I love that I don't know what's going to happen. We were talking about this with Aaron before we came on the air. I love that we don't know what's going to happen in Atlanta in a couple weeks. I think that's great. And that segment really ramped up my want to see this pay-per-view or premium live event. Sorry.
Yeah. And like Rock, he did college football too. So again, he could try to upstage Roman. Like there's just so many seeds planted with this. And,
exactly. Oh, Georgia Tech. That's cute. I was at the U winning national titles.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. Long-term storytelling.
Going over to Aaron.
Oh, we're not going to TJS?
No. I always go to you last, so once in a while I like to not do that.
Curveball. Well, as I mentioned on the SmackDown recap, it was definitely a unique segment, something we usually don't see. Roman Reigns is usually in front of the WWE fans. Really, we haven't seen Roman Reigns in this kind of a segment, I think, since the pandemic. He's almost always in front of the audience, but this time they did this segment at Georgia Tech. We got the show coming up in Atlanta. And I think that it really added a lot of intrigue to the Bad Blood match. And now I'm wondering, are we getting Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes relatively soon? I thought, as a lot of us did, that they were just going to do Bloodline versus Bloodline at Survivor Series. And now you have to wonder, well, they're hyping up Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns so much. This is the match I want to see now. They got me excited to see this rubber match. Will they give it away at a show like Crown Jewel? Some people think that would be a waste, that Saudi Arabia is not a big enough venue for that rematch. But I would not be shocked if it happens at this point. I don't know who's going to win at Bad Blood. I think it could go either way, and that's a big positive that they've made the match unpredictable in this manner. They've done a great job building up the tension between Roman Reigns and Cody for that third match, though. Walter?
Now, before you go, Jeff, who did you say said this was over the top a little bit?
Walter said that Aaron said that on Friday.
Aaron
on Friday.
Aaron just said he. Yeah. Aaron just said he didn't.
I mean, maybe it's sunk in because I didn't hear anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, from Aaron now. But again, sometimes in wrestling, over the top is okay. Is good.
No, it is.
So
yeah, I mean, I was watching and I'm like, yeah, this is a little bit much with the music. I think I could have done without the background music, but that's what they were going for, to make it cinematic. And I did say it was very effective, and people really liked the segment.
I popped for the motorcade.
Oh yeah, that was great. Great touch.
Because I wasn't quite sure what they were doing with that, and then Roman got out. All right, Walter.
I just wanted to put it out there for those that saying Crown Jewel isn't a big enough pay-per-view. Just remember that Shawn freaking Michaels came out of retirement. It was the worst match ever, but at a Crown Jewel. So don't say that's not a big enough event.
Well, no, I'm gonna counter that.
For their payday, it's a big event. Yes.
Yeah. That was a nostalgia moment because it was DX versus The Undertaker and Kane, number 1, and number 2. Like I said before we went on the air, those are all spot shows. You want Roman and Cody at a show that people are going to buy tickets for, and they're gonna froth the mouth and spend their money for it. Crown Jewel's not one of those shows.
All right, Aaron, back to you before we pass it over to TJS.
Well, considering how much money WWE gets for those Saudi Arabia shows, I'd put on the biggest match possible to make sure that they get another deal once it ends. I think it was a 10-year deal, and we're 2024 going into 25 now. They might want to make sure the Saudi Arabia officials are happy, and they'll sign a new deal, and WWE can make a whole lot more money. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Yes, Jeff.
Well, no, you're good.
Oh, okay. TJS, your thoughts on this promo, vignette, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, well, this might be a little bit controversial, but I liked it. But I'm seeing people all over social media saying, "Oh, they need an Emmy. Give them an Emmy for this. Oh my God." It wasn't that good. I'm not saying that it was bad, but I don't think this was like a DiCaprio movie, Emmy level, but I did enjoy it. And I mentioned in the comments on Aaron's review that, like, when Roman said that little one-liner, he said, "You're in my way in life," I kind of got chills a little bit because I'm like, man, because these guys are just like mortal enemies at this point, and they're putting their differences aside to team up. So I really liked it. And I'm a big fan of them doing things outside of the venue because it makes it feel like these are actual people and not just robots or, machines that only live inside of the arena. So Motorcade was awesome. Cody taking his little, I don't know what kind of car that was, but it was awesome. And the music, it's not really my kind of music, but I get it. Like you said, Aaron, like it's like in movies you have soundtracks. It was like that. So I liked it.
What do you mean it's not your kind of music? You don't like cinematic orchestra music? You want like banjos? What's your style of music?
They should be playing like System of a Down, Aaron, when they're
By the way, Oscars are movies. Emmys are TV shows.
Hey, that's one way to use a football stadium.
Smackdown is a TV show, so
that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an Emmy movie.
Yeah.
Oscar movie.
All right. Well, still, I mean, and I also want to say that Roman Reigns is like, he's gotten so much more confident from when he first started. Like it's crazy. It's just like how effortless he's the facial expressions, everything. Like it was awesome.
They cast him in a movie, so. Where he has like multiple scenes. They don't just do that. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see how that looks. I'm interested in that. But.
TJS mentioned the confidence. I like, because it was mentioned in the chat a while ago, I like the accountability that Roman took during that conversation. That was good. And also the whole phrase that "you're in my way in life," that's him admitting that somebody is in his way back on the path to redeem
that was brilliant. That was a shot at the taking away the Rock and Roman bloodline match. That's
it was a shot at Cody, but it was also okay. You are in my way right now. Doesn't mean you're gonna be.
And then
just little things like that was so good.
Yeah, and then Roman saying, "I have nothing to lose at this point." He said, "I have no title, I have no bloodline, I have no wise man, I got nothing to lose. You have everything to lose."
Look, as much as I would like a third match now, remember I called it later on down the road when roles are reversed and Cody's a heel. there's just something that I get my jollies off of, that if Rock is the one that comes back and takes it back, there will be so many hearts broken. And that final boss, I just cannot wait. Like, I actually want that more than I think I want the Rock and Roman match, which is what I always wanted out of all of this anyway, because of the heartbroken Cody fans. If the Rock wins that title from him, I want so
bad to be a live watch along when that happens, just so we can see the genuine smile across your face and all the online reactions.
If it doesn't happen, I mean, I still feel confident of Rock and Roman happening, and we're going to get that conclusion down the road. But man, I like putting my eggs in one basket and just dangle it over the ledge, and I'm dangling this one over the ledge. So, is everybody ready for the main event? Aaron, catch up on the super chats first, and then we'll go to our main event about the greatest wrestling roster of all time.
All right, well, first of all, Psycho Jet Black sent in $2 and says, will Roman Reigns ever say suffering succotash again? Probably not, but The Rock might say it at some point to make fun of Roman Reigns. I would not rule that out to build up their match. And then Psycho Jet Black, this is off topic. What's your favorite System of a Down song, radio, video? What about you, TJS?
Oh, man. I really like Prison Song. I think that's a good one.
Hey, true story. I got trampled in a mosh pit to that song. I was like front row, and that was the first song of the night, and everybody was going crazy. Like it was intense, and I ended up on the ground, and I lost my shoe.
Oh my God!
I had to be carried out, and I'm like, where did I lose my shoe?
Yeah, great band. Serge Tankian he's very talented.
Oh, absolutely. So thank you for that, Psycho Jet Black. And I guess we're caught up now.
Okay, so main event. So, and Tony Khan, he could ham it up. Like, at this point, I don't know if this is just him saying things or if he really is this character that will say whatever can get him attention. But part of me thinks that he really believes this because of guys like Dave Meltzer, egging him on all this way, saying, you do have the best roster of all time, Tony Khan. So let's look at over the course of history that we can remember way back. And Jeff, I know you got a lot of them that you're probably sitting over.
Oh God.
What would you consider? And when I think, let's do a 1 to 2 year period of a roster. So obviously the golden era of WWF, then the new generation, those are different rosters, attitude era, ruthless aggression era, TNA, AEW. But I'm interested to see what people are going to start saying. Especially in the chat here.
Yes.
Jeff, I'm going to start with you on this one. The greatest. And does Tony Khan, does it hold any water? I mean, would you put AEW's current roster in a top 5, top 3?
So my whole argument against that is it's just one of those, I don't know if he actually believes it or not. That's the scary part. And you got to remember, you can have the best roster in the history of everything, but if you don't book them right, they're going to come off like just some random indie shit put together, right? So I look at it as, okay, you've got all these people on the roster, but how were they presented to the audience? So for me, I'm going to go with the WWF roster in the 1.5 to 2 years just prior to WrestleMania 17.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because before the influx of the WCW talent, there was not one person on that roster that, even in a small way, was not over like Roman. So WWF, and you got to remember, if we're going back 1.5, 2 years, like you said, end of '99, WWF was Austinless, and they all had to step up because of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, for me, Jeff, there's a lot because you think of your favorite wrestlers and when they came aboard. So what you just said there, that's very plausible, and I could argue that. And part of me still says that 1998 roster WWF because they came together with Austin at the top, but that's about when they started finally getting back competing with Nitro, and eventually by 99 passing them most of the time. That roster and the booking of that roster had a lot to do with it. I mean, the revolving door of main eventers, Rock, Mankind, Undertaker,
Hunter.
Austin, Kane, Triple H. I mean, and some of them, it was the rise of their
Yes.
main event star. Like, that was insane. Like, just absolutely insane. And you could say periods of WCW as well.
Well,
What else? You got anything else there?
I was going to
Jeff?
say, if you think about the night of WrestleMania 14 and the Raw after, it could have been a disaster. Shawn Michaels is forced out. Who knows how long he's going to be gone for real?
Yep.
You know, Austin, yes, he's the guy. Yes, the Austin phenomenon was cooking with gas, but he was already on borrowed time at that point. And rather than everybody, oh no, we're losing Shawn. Oh no, Steve's, banged up. Undertaker's already been here almost 10 years. Rock stepped up. Triple H stepped up. Mick Foley really, even at the end of his career at that point, still really stepped up. And then you had the younger guys that were just getting booked great. The tag team stepped up. The women finally, as bad as it aged like milk, now the women really started getting showcased in 98 and 99. So everybody had their spot in those 2 hours on Monday. And then when they got the 2 hours on SmackDown, everybody got a little piece of the pie, and they were all showcased. However, we look back on it now. At the time, there, like I said at the top, there wasn't one person on that roster that even for a couple of seconds on a 2-hour show wasn't over like never before.
And Jeff, I'm gonna say it for the era, for the 98 to 99 era that I picked, and then like a year or so later that you picked.
Sure,
there was a constant during that time. The greatest heel in wrestling was part of that roster. The owner of the company. And I don't care if you don't like him and the controversy around him now. Not you. I'm talking to the people out there that hate. Yeah. When I say Vince McMahon, McMahon will always go down. He's the greatest heel character in the history of professional wrestling. And he anchored that. A heel character always anchors that for the baby faces. And he did it. And he stepped in the ring. He wasn't a worker, but he still did it. And it was entertaining. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, Vince being the head of the company and everybody being his, minion going against Austin and then going against The Rock and then going against Triple H. And it was always Vince that was the straw that stirred the drink as the bad guy. So that's what
Tony Khan, if you want the greatest roster, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do on your active roster? Because we've seen what you've tried already. All right, Walter, over to you now.
You said the greatest. I'm not sure if it's the greatest, but I really like
your favorite. Your favorite. At least.
I really like that between 03 and 04 roster. Like, you still had Taker, you had Shawn Michaels in the middle of his second run. You had Jericho. You had the name people don't want to mention, but I'm gonna say it, damn it. I know what he did, but I'm talking about
Chris
the
Benoit.
wrestling part of it. Chris
Eddie
Benoit.
Guerrero.
OVW. You have Booker
the class
T.
of 2002.
You had peak ass Brock Lesnar, Batista, and then you have
that's like
for the comedy.
I'm sold. That's the greatest. That is the greatest roster of all time. 02 to 04.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, seriously, I bet you've missed people.
Yeah, Goldberg.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah, that's incredible. Shelton Benjamin.
Did you say Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle. Yeah, I didn't say it, but Kurt Angle was at his peak. You had so much.
Shane McMahon.
Yeah, with intact quads. Like you had them there. Like,
wow.
That was the Christian. Like, everybody was just at their peak, and they were in their game stepping up. So that that 03-04 roster is just that was an awesome roster. That was a good time to be a WWE fan.
Yeah, no, that's a great roster. All right, TJS, be controversial. What do you got?
Oh, I'm gonna be
ECW 96, 97. What?
ECW 2006. Go ahead.
Oh my God, it's Christian. Look, is it? Can I pick two, or do I have to just do one?
Dude, yeah, you do the one as an honorable mention, maybe. I don't know. Go ahead.
All right, honorable mention. I'm going with, and hear me out, TNA 2010. The product, not good. The roster, stacked. You had Motor City Machine Gun. Well, you guys, Motor City Machine Guns, AJ Styles, Amazing Red, Christopher Daniels, Nigel McGuinness, Eric Young, Homicide, Beer Money, Jay Lethal, Samoa Joe. Here's the veterans: Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, Sting, Kevin Nash, Kurt Angle. If the product was good, I think that you guys would feel better about that roster. But I agree, product was terrible in Teenage 2010.
Someone said TJS giggle, so
Well, you're about to giggle at the pick that I'm about to say. Is it too
you're
soon?
gonna pick AEW 2024?
Oh,
Is that what you're gonna say?
No. Is it too soon for me to say the current WWE roster is the greatest that we ever had?
Well, then you're basically saying it's better than what Tony Khan is saying is the best roster of all time. Yeah, you're gonna probably get a lot of pushback of all the other eras that we just mentioned, but
yeah,
I mean, it's look at business.
Yeah,
Again,
Roman Cody,
like
Punk,
I said.
like
Exactly.
you wouldn't be like totally off base.
Yeah, so I feel like, and I don't want to sound like a douchebag, but I feel like I don't have any nostalgia bias towards those eras, like 2002 and such. I grew up, I was born in '98, so I grew up watching, but I mean, so I wasn't really familiar until like 2006. But anyway, I think today's roster in WWE is pretty crazy. You got Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. Just look at the roster: Braun Strowman. Like and you mix NXT.
Name some women too: Rhea Ripley,
Bailey.
Seth
Did
Rollins.
I say Bailey? Seth Rollins. Yeah. But
Lola Vice.
yeah. See, but
We'll see her later.
I really do feel like, and like you said, Virtue, look at business. Things are like, this is the hottest that WWE's ever been. 92. Yeah. I mean, the 92 Rumble was full of.
I was gonna say the 92 Rumble was the best rostered Rumble, probably.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Hey, TJS, Gunther. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Brock Lesnar is still
Yeah.
there, technically.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, I mean,
Punk,
and
McIntyre.
yeah, it's
Orton, which I could still
Orton.
mention in that 03-04 era, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Cena's technically still there.
It's true.
So,
I think the best to Tyler, you mentioned 2010 TNA. Horrible product, horribly booked, but a great roster. Kind of like AEW 2024.
you know what? Yeah, that's a very good point, man. Yeah.
They've got Tony's not wrong that they have a great roster. He just can't book them. He can't spank his own ass with both hands, let alone book a company the right way.
I feel
a
like
roster they could have had Tony Khan's current roster: Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. You know, I'm just naming those two because they're the obvious.
It's so crazy because I saw a clip of AEW back when Cody was there where the fans threw the belt back in the ring when he threw it into the crowd, the weight belt. They threw it back at him and they were booing him out of the building. And it's like,
again, though, what is he not? He is not that 5-star Meltzer, Will Ospreay style of wrestler.
Nope.
Neither is CM Punk. Younger CM Punk did some crazy stuff, but older CM Punk, no. And when he tried to do that stuff, he would botch. They don't belong there. That's not their sports entertainer. That's not what they do. So I think everything happens for a reason. So that TJS, you were definitely valid by saying current WWE.
Yeah.
All right. So did everybody go so far besides Aaron?
Yep.
Okay, Aaron, have at it.
All right. First of all, shout out to Mr. Tito. He said with $2. Thank you, Tito. Best roster ever, cannot draw 700K or draw 5K live. Well, okay, so that leads into what I was going to say, and there's a lot of different ways that you can look at it. There's lots of criteria. With Mr. Tito, he's going by business success or maybe star power. AEW's current roster, are they great at getting those 5-star matches? Absolutely. They do have a great roster of wrestlers, but they're definitely not the biggest draws. Look at their attendance numbers right now. I would like to consider several things. Obviously, are they great wrestlers? Is it a great roster of wrestlers? But I think more importantly, the star power. To me, I weigh the star power above everything else. Like, are these people just larger than life, fun to watch, entertainers? That's what I look at above and beyond everything else. And then, of course, the drawing power. Sometimes you might not you might not be the most entertaining star, but you draw the crowds. They're definitely wrestlers that are attractions, and they might not be very good in the ring, or they might not even be the best promo, but they do draw the numbers. Yes.
Aaron, back to your point about, AEW does have a bunch of those wrestlers that get the 5-star type matches by who? By Dave Meltzer, who has never given Kurt Angle, versus Shawn Michaels, a 5-star match. So to me, it's irrelevant. That rating system is very niche, and it's based on a one man's opinion who has gathered fans to believe that because of his newsletter, and more power to them if that's what they like. But seriously, Kurt Angle, probably one of the top 3 wrestlers of all time in the ring. That's all I got to say. And he won a freaking gold medal with a broken neck. Anyway.
That's right. But yeah, I'm looking at the quality of the wrestling. I'm looking at the star power. I'm looking at the drawing power. Those are the 3 main ones. I'm trying not to include nostalgia in it too much. I'm just going by when I look at the best and all the different attributes. You guys made some great choices, and I do agree with a couple of them. Starting off earlier. Oh, go ahead.
Well, see, I go back to that 98-99 roster when Austin came, up to power and Vince McMahon heel character, because they utilized those, top 5-6 main eventers, and the mid card was so strong, and it propelled. And you can say Vince Russo's hotshot writing. It propelled WWE to finally start winning the ratings again against and drawing huge houses and all that good stuff. Where Tony Khan, he has the best roster in his mind, other than Wembley. What are they doing? None of that.
Right. So I really like the late 91, 92 roster. We talked about the 92 Rumble. You look at the star power of that Rumble. You had not the best quality of wrestling, but when you look at star power and drawing power, you look at Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, The Undertaker, Sid Justice, Ric Flair. That was just a loaded roster in late 91, early 92. And Attitude Era, definitely that 2000 roster when Chris Jericho and the Radicals came in, that really brought up the in-ring product. You had the drawing power, you had Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold. So you had your big draws, you had your big personalities like Undertaker and Kane, and you had your great wrestlers like Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit. That 2000 roster was, about as good as you can get in every category. And then I would say, after WCW was sold, WWE picked up some of those WCW wrestlers, some of the ECW wrestlers, and that was a very loaded roster. I do think the booking had its ups and downs during that period, and then Hogan came back, so you had Hogan in the mix. WrestleMania 19, you look at that card, man, that was such a card that was packed with star power, and you had great wrestling too. You had Shawn Michaels, you had Chris Jericho, Vince McMahon, Hulk Hogan as the personalities, great wrestlers like Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle. That roster in 2003 was excellent, and you had all the great wrestlers, all the star power. The booking was questionable, but I think the ones I mentioned, late 91, early 92, 2000, 2002, 2003, those were the best rosters. And, of course, the current WWE roster, for the reasons TJS said. You look at just everything that they have and the business that they're doing right now. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, so many acts, Rhea Ripley. All these people are just getting great reactions in packed arenas. They're entertaining to watch. The shows have been the best they've been in many years. And that's partly the booking too. But I think, the great roster just makes it so much easier to put on a great show. All you need is just the right storyline, and, everything's going to catch fire. The great wrestlers, they're the fuel, and then you have that fire to make it great. Walter.
I tell you what, about the current, definitely has the best women's roster.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's about the actual women wrestling, and not just their sex appeal to young teenage people, boys. So definitely women's roster currently is the best.
Wait, WWE or AEW's?
WWE.
I know.
I just want to say, Aaron, WrestleMania 19 is one of the very few actual regrets I have about our early time working together, that we didn't make the effort to go see that show, because that show turned out so damn good, and we could have gone. We really could have.
That lineup, I mean,
Man,
name another card that had that combination of the star power and the great wrestlers. Like you had from top to bottom one of the best
and even the Bolt throwaway match, the pillow fight thing, was still entertaining and funny.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be fair here to the Wrestling Observer niche audience, fan base. AEW's current roster is probably the best roster of all time. Like you might be able to go find a Japan roster maybe. Sure. But to them, it is. So if Tony Khan wants to be more clear when he says that,
yeah.
But you know how it is. You got to promote your company like you're the best. And,
right. Of course.
Blah, blah, blah.
We do have a couple of super chats here. So Mr. Tito said great rosters must have strong tag divisions too. That's another reason I like that late 91, early 92, because you had some awesome tag teams during that period. You had the Legion of Doom. You had Money Incorporated. The Natural Disasters were cool. Like I enjoyed them as a tag team. They were fun. Yeah. The Nasty Boys were at their peak at the time. They were pretty entertaining. So, they actually had tag teams back then. It feels like now you just throw two people together and call them a tag team. But back then, you had some great teams. And I agree with that comment from Tito. You really got to consider everything, the drawing power, the wrestling, and the divisions too, each division.
And yeah, they have strong team matches on both sides, WWE and AEW, but to your point, the AEW booking, it just revolves around the Rancho Cucamonga Sun, while WWE is throwing people together. DIY, Street Profits, and the Bloodline are an exception, but that's only on one show.
Right.
3. So
there you go. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says better roster TNA Aces and Eights era or WWE 2008 or 2018 to 2019. I would say the WWE era, but the booking wasn't good. That was the problem. Like the shows were not well written, but the roster in 2018 was very good when you look at all the names that they had.
We got to do like WWE 2012 to 2014 too, because you had the rise of Daniel Bryan, CM Punk was there, Cena was still there, Taker was still doing his thing up until WrestleMania 30. Like the Shield came in. Like you go back and look at that couple of years, that's very, very strong roster.
That period of time when they were having SummerSlam out here on the regular, there was a strong roster where it didn't feel like it was a chore to be at every one of those SummerSlams when they came out here in August.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. So on the flip side, what are some of the worst wrestling rosters ever? Well, I would say 93 WWE, 95 WWE. Like, look at that 95 Rumble. Besides Shawn Michaels and the British Bulldog, like that roster was thin.
Who's going to say WCW 2000?
Well, the roster was so good, but they were just so badly booked. You talk about bad roster, Aaron. I'm actually approaching the 95 Rumble on my going back and watching my childhood stuff binge. God damn, is the TV bad and the roster's so small. It's like, oof. I watched the big debut of Hakushi, the big debut of Henry Godwin, the big debut coming up of Mantar. Oh my god.
That was the worst. Like, I could be a troll. I could be a troll 2024 AEW, but I'm not.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm not. Yeah.
When I first started watching in late 1990, early 91, the roster was still like there was a lot on the WWF roster, but they were very defeated because of all the controversy going on at that point that was leading up to the big Sahorian scandal. So I think that, 7 years old, Jeff was loving it. It was great. But you look back, it's like, it's rough. It's rough. The end of the golden era into the new generation start was pretty rough.
Yeah. And that's how WCW was able to
Yep.
to make a name for themselves and take a piece of that pie of the business, because WWE's product had gone downhill so much. And kind of the same thing that happened in 2019. WWE was not putting on great shows, and that was AEW's opportunity to swoop right in and gain some of those disgruntled fans. But something happened, and WWE turned things around, and it hurt AEW.
Yeah. You mentioned 1991 tag teams, Aaron. The main event scene on both sides, WWF and WCW, had a lot of power, but neither looked really strong, in my opinion. Hogan, Slaughter, Warrior, and even Savage to an extent before he went to the retirement angle on the one side. And then Flair, Luger was still U.S. champion until he had that match at the Bash. But, man, the rosters on both sides, singles wrestler-wise, except for the Intercontinental U.S. Championship picture, it's rough, man. Rough rosters.
Billy L sent in a $2 super chat, says, did Daniel Bryan waste the end of his career in AEW? I don't think so.
Not if he's getting paid.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at this point, Danielson, he wants to get paid, but he's not that concerned about money. I think he just wants to have fun at this point. So if he's happy, then...
And I'd like to point out my choice of 98 and the 99. That was the last we had of Owen Hart as well. He was part of that roster. So I feel maybe I was in a bias towards me choosing that, but they were all everybody, the years that you brought up with those were all valid. All of them.
But yeah, and when you figure when Owen's on the roster... But before Bryan passed, you had all five of those guys, even Neidhart, who wasn't at the peak of his career. All five of those Hart Foundation guys were just another level in 97, man. They were all so good and so on fire. So good.
Dude, I love that 97 one too. Part of that, that was it's a great time. But again, we've definitely found multiple rosters over the years that we just talked about. And Tony Khan, there you go. What else you got, Aaron? Ready to close it up?
Well, we're ready to close it up. Got anything else?
It's the same that when we say the 90s and you think about how many wrestlers have passed, like it's crazy, like to think about it. I went on this pay-per-view binge, and like you gotta wait till like 2011 now or 12 or something before like everybody's still alive on the roster.
Dude, for brief periods of time, for like the brief little 3 to 6 month increments, you could have picked some 95, 96 ECW when some of the guys were passing through, like Austin, Pillman, like you know what I mean. But like very very short periods of time. But man, those were electric back then.
I have one of those great examples for hand to guy. I'm watching the January 7th, 95 episode of ECW, and my brother came in to get something out of the kitchen. Sandman versus Too Cold Scorpio, woman in Sandman's corner. I said, is it not crazy to think of the three people in this match, Jim? Sandman is the most in shape and still thriving. Isn't that scary? Because Scorpio's got his legal issues and he's not in the best shape, and Nancy's where Nancy is, unfortunately. But yeah, Sandman is like the most vibrant of the three, and it's whatever it was, 20. It'll be 30 years. Oh my God, it's crazy.
Crazy times. All right, let's go around and do our last words. So I'll start with you, TJS.
Welp. It was always a pleasure to be on. Can't believe that we are over 300 episodes now in the review. Really is crazy. Going strong to this day. So, again, thanks for having me. And had fun. Follow me on X at TYLRJSPHSMTH. And that's it. Thanks again. Right. Hope we all have a great week, and see you again soon.
Thank you. All right, Walter.
All right, thanks again for having me up here. It was fun. So for me, you can follow me at Walter Alex Cruz, the Instagram. Now this is the personal one, no longer the business, but it's walter.cruz.940.
Wait, what happened?
I didn't pick the name. It filtered. It picked the name for me, but I wanted to give my personal one. Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay,
I wanted to reach out to that personal one because I don't really control the other one. My brother does. So,
okay.
But and then the YouTube, of course, at Rage of Wrestling. You can watch watch alongs along with us of UFC and WWE, TNA, And yes, even AEW, I do spend the $50 and watch the pay-per-view. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to critique
Greatest roster of all
honestly.
time. I don't know. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
Thanks again, guys, for having me.
Thank you, Walter. Okay, Jeff.
All right. Let's see if it went through. There you go. There's a better picture than Lola Vice. By God, good
Is
old
that Orange
Jan.
Cassidy?
No,
Cousin?
no, I wasn't trying for it, but I guess it just looked that way with the denim jacket.
That's his long lost cousin, Apple Cassidy.
That's right. Okay. So if Cassidy and me, I'm not the orange one. Got it. Okay. Anyway, that makes sense. Jeff Meacham on Facebook and YouTube, _Jeff Meacham on X, and then I didn't fix the logo on X, but Twitter and Instagram, and new content on my channel coming in 2025. Just still waiting to get everything lined up, but I'm on here quite a bit. I'm on the Greg Cherry Show when I'm available, and yeah, you'll see me pop in from time to time, just like Sting back in '96.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Aaron.
Just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest news and rumors as we head into Bad Blood. And thank you to the panel for being on tonight. We'll be back next Sunday. And then after that, we'll be moving to Tuesday temporarily, maybe for the remainder of football season. But we'll be back next Sunday.
There you go.
Tune in for that. And feel free to message Virtue if you have any ideas for topics. If you have a controversial topic that we can talk about in wrestling, run something by him, and maybe we'll discuss it on the next No DQ.
Yeah, we have to get heated. We haven't got heated on the show for a while.
Yeah.
It's been like happy-go-lucky, so we'll see what happens this fall.
Yeah.
It's like handshakes before the matches and after the matches. I don't like that. I want them to
Exactly.
fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, x.com if you dare, at NoDQ_Virtue, and check out the merch over on NoDQ.com/merch. But that is it. That is it for Jeff, Walter, TJS, Aaron, and the whole NoDQ crew and Galaxy. I'm Virtue. This has been the NoDQ Review 303. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.
Jiggle TJS.
We've got the giggles.
Jeff held up a plate of food.
I did. My son cooked dinner for me. I'm so proud of him.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Cut.